Hey guys, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're taking a look at a 1994 Toyota Supra SZ automatic transmission with Veilside Body Kit and Gullwing Doors. And quite a mix-up on this one. This one's going to be headed to Singapore, and you can't actually import a car there and register it of this generation, and so this one's going to be sent there. And you can still import it, you just can't register it. It's going to become a race car, and probably a good example to be a race car. You can convert the transmission to a manual, you can pick a 5-speed or a 6-speed if you want. And then this one doesn't look like the kind of Supra that you would want to keep in really good condition, because it's not really in good enough condition. And then it's the automatic transmission with the non-turbo engine. And so this is basically the only way that you can get a Supra for under $10,000 is if you go with the automatic or non-turbos. They bump up right against $10,000 for models that are in kind of poor-ish condition. Kind of like this one. I don't want to call it poor condition though, because all Supras are valuable because the Supra body is super sexy, and that causes people to spend a lot of money on these cars, even the ones that need a little bit of love and tender care. And then if you're looking for the turbo ones, you know, I get a lot of flack on these videos for not saying the prices that we bought all the cars for. That's really up to the customer to release that information, because these cars have already been bought by people. But generally a twin turbo Supra, and a lot of people are interested in this. At the moment, at the time of this video, they cost anywhere between about 3 million and 5 million yen at auction, and then more at the dealers here in Japan. And so that's about $25,000 to $35,000, sometimes a little bit higher. Anyways, let's take a look at this one. 119,000 kilometers. Engine runs so nice and so fresh. I love these 2Js. Even without the turbos, they're a very fantastic engine. 220 PS, which is about 215 horsepower or so. Engine oil looks good and coolant looks good. Super reliable, very good response. If you give it a little rev, it sounds nice. And it feels good and responsive when you hit that throttle. Gives you a decent amount of power for the fairly heavy car, and added heaviness because the Veilside Body Kit adds a lot of weight to the car, surprisingly. This front bumper weighs more than my son, and that weighs more than my other son, the wing on the back. Thankfully in this one they took off the center section of the wing, and so it's lightweight modification, and it kind of looks like devil horns too. Anyways, more on that in a sec. I'm just going to lower the hood here, and I'll show you the doors. One of the doors is broken, and as you can see, one of the headlights is broken too. Headlights have been modified. The interior of them has been painted white. Headlights usually come in either chrome or black, and then this one has been modified to have an extra light down here, which is kind of cool. But also, you know, if you're opening up the headlights, you could add a little bit more than that. Oh, it looks like there's halo lights in there. I wonder how you turn those on. Okay, well, there's halo rings around all three of the headlights, but they're not on. I could turn them off, but as soon as you open this door, then the door doesn't like to be opened, and I'll show you that in a sec. First off, auction sheet, then exterior, and then interior. I'll show you the super shallow trunk that's in the JZA80s. Okay, so this one here is the auction sheet. This is the information given to us by the auction, and take a look. If you have a lot of comments here, which you do, and a lot of marks here, which it does, that generally means a poor condition car. But we're going to go over this, and I'm going to show you exactly the condition of the car before we bought it, and then it's up to the customers whatever car that they want to buy. If you want to buy a race car, it's probably better to start with a car that's not in optimal condition, because you would pay for a lot for a super clean one. Okay, so it's 1994. That makes it an early model Supra, second year. SZ means no turbo. Auction grade 3.5 with an interior grade C, 119,201 kilometers. It's original white, and the paint basically everywhere on the car is faded, and so it's not good original white anymore. Drivers and passengers side have Gullwing Doors. Steering, oh, and this is the report section. That's just what the seller wrote, and so the auction writes this whole section here. Steering wheel wear and ripped. Dashboard comes up, actually far less than the typical dashboard comes up. You can see it through the windshield here, but you can't really see it that much inside the car. Interior is dirty. Aftermarket exhaust, suspension, and rear spoiler. Also aero kit, but they didn't mention that. Interior liner has been modified, and one part has been painted. Engine room has rust in it. I actually didn't find any rust in the engine room. I think that there's a little bit around some of the bolts, but nothing to be concerned about that I could find. And so that's a plus. Underside surface rust, scratched and dented. Again, nothing problematic there. Fenders have been modified. Strangely, only the rear ones have been modified. Now, what they mean by that is rolled fenders so that you can fit the nice aggressive fitment of the 19-inch wheels on there, but these ones here haven't been modified at all. Usually what they'll do is they'll put a device in there to pull the inner section flat so that you get more clearance before it rubs. And then the back ones have had that happen to it. And also the auction sheet said a U2, which is a medium-sized dent around the fenders, and that generally means it's been pulled out further than the fender typically goes. They called this one a U3, and you can see it's kind of pulled out there. And so that's a pretty common modification when you're running an aggressive package of wheels and tires. Okay, we're almost done here, just a sec. Where are we at? Aftermarket wheels scratched. Exterior is not glossy. And the driver's side door is misaligned and the Gullwing damper doesn't work. And so I'll talk about that in a sec. Various scratches and dents. And then cloudy headlights, cracked front bumper, some rust here and misaligned section. They're talking about the other side, but basically the same as this. AU3 here, that's a big scratch and a dent. Relatively big dent there. Fade 2 there. Got some corrosion on the roof. That is right here. It's actually better that it's here than it's actually on the roof, because here it's really easy to repair. If it's on the roof, it's probably a little bit more difficult to repair. Wiper in the back is being removed, corrosion around the window, broken tail lights, and then scuffs on the back bumper. So a lot of body damage compared to your average car. Okay, so let's go around here. I think the 19-inch wheels actually look pretty good. They're a little bit old, but I think a 19 looks good on this vehicle. And the Supra is a car that can kind of handle the big boy modifications. A 19-inch wheel is typically pretty big for cars of this era, especially because you go up to a 19 and you're ruining a lot of your performance because of the extra weight of the wheel. And then newer cars have compensation. Hello, GDM tree. Newer cars have compensation because of their gearing to run a bigger wheel and tire package. But in general, smaller wheels are going to make you perform better unless you need to fit some really big brakes in there. And speaking of brakes, this one has the smaller brakes of the 2 brakes that come on the Supra. Okay, so Veilside Body Kit, full front bumper. And this body kit is so 90s. It is pretty insane. Aggressive side skirts with a big brake cooling duct. And the car typically comes with a brake cooling duct here, but it's usually smaller. Here it's like a big scoop. The antenna goes right through the spoiler. This is something I always loved about the Veilside wing, is that the antenna has a hole to go through. And typically, see where these 2 bolts are? There's another wing that goes between these, and then it's adjustable, but then they took that wing off, which gives it kind of a weird look. But to be honest, I quite like it better than the original Veilside wing, which is one of my least favorite wings, especially on the Supra, which the hoop spoiler looks so good on this car that it's kind of a shame to take it off to put a spoiler on that is so much heavier and is probably not really doing that much in terms of aero. Here's the cracked taillight. You can see lots of cracks around the door lock section. And, oh, they're LEDs. I didn't notice that. Okay. Same thing on this one. Actually, really nice sounding exhaust. Okay, here's the corrosion around the window. Wiper's been removed, and a little bit more corrosion over there. Okay, but side panels, other than the paint, you're looking pretty good here. So that's a plus. And the vehicle's really not as bad as the auction sheet makes it out to be. I think it needs a repaint. I think it needs proper doors. But in general, it's not really that bad. Just questionable taste and modifications. Okay, so Gullwing doors never work as well as you think that they would when you see them in the videos or in pictures. So the way this works is you pop it out and it comes out like a regular door, and then at a certain point you can pull it up, but you do have to be careful because it's going to rub right there. It goes up. It doesn't really go up far enough to easily get into it, which is a bit of a shame. There's Andrew come to pick me up. Right after this video, it's office time. And so, yeah, hard to get in there. Also, LED modification to the doors so that when the gull wings are up, they can have cool light coming in, but it doesn't look like it's wired up to anything because I couldn't figure out a way to get it on. On both sides of the doors, you've got damage here from people closing the gull wings improperly. And let's see how hard it is to get in. It's kind of like a leg in first, and then you get a little amount of room to get in here. Well, the AC is on and the AC doesn't work. Off, please. Okay, and then getting out, you're like, oh no, I can't get out because somebody modified the door. It's really not that bad. And then you got to be careful because you got to push all the way down, all the way down, all the way down before you go in. And then if it gets misaligned like that, then hit it with your bum. The driver's side is a different story. The driver's side, the damper is dead, and so it doesn't push the door up easily. When you pull it out, it'll sag down immediately. And then you can push it up, but since there's no damper, it's a really heavy door. Oh my gosh, that's like 20 kilograms. And so you just have to use it like a regular door. You replace that damper in there, or you get it rebuilt, and you would be able to use it as a gull wing again if you wanted. Some damage to the side of the door there, and both door cards have some damage here, it looks like, because of the gull wing. Okay, door cards. Pretty normal. They've been wrapped with this carbon fiber wrap, which I'm starting to like less and less the more I see it, to be honest. This one has the leather seats, which is a huge plus because they are in good condition, and it's hard to find Supra leather seats in good condition, at least here in Japan. The leather seats were in the GZ version, or an option on the SZ version. And so to get them with a turbo, you needed a GZ instead of an RZ. Rear seats are always leather, no matter which version that you pick, but I think it's not real leather, it's maybe just vinyl. I don't know. Can't remember. Okay, red modification to the sills here. Door piece has been removed, and you can see that damage there to the inside of the fender. Okay, whole dashboard has been wrapped in that carbon wrap. This is something nice that Toyota did. They took the odometer and put it up here, so that if you replace the gauges with the ones that go higher than 180 kilometers an hour, then you don't change the odometer. So good for them. Unfortunately, for second generation, they changed that. Kind of stupid. Driver-centric center section, aftermarket Navi. This one here up raises and lowers. Come on, go down. There you go. Down, 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 and in. Power steering is a little bit slow, like you need to change the fluid, but no weird sounds, and it's smooth, not lumpy. Floor mat is from another car. Response is great. Watch this. That sounds good. Oh, sorry, old man. You probably don't like cool cars. Alright, deformation of dashboard, a popular thing on Supras, really minimal. And then rear view mirror here. So you can't see anything behind you unless you shift into reverse. And I really highly recommend you don't shift into the reverse when you're driving and you want to see behind you. So a little bit annoying. Fortunately, the original one's in the back there. Headliner's fine. Interior doesn't smell like people with poor taste. There was a word I was going to use there, but I'm going to refrain. Okay. There we go. And then closing the door is a little bit of a pain because when you close it, it doesn't line up. You're going to crack your side skirt if you do. And so hold it with your leg, pull up, and then look to make sure your things are side by side. Go in enough that it clicks, and then hit it with your bum. And I'll show you here with a bum cam. And the 3 bumps is usually unnecessary. 2 will usually suffice. So there you have it, Toyota Supra automatic transmission going to Singapore to become a race car. And I want to see what happens to this car. And so if you're the owner of this car, please, please, please send me pictures of the car once it lands. I know that you will, because the Soarer that you brought in, you did send pictures of, and that's super rad. So there we have it, Toyota Supra going to Singapore. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.